right, guys, welcome back. Ron and Val, we are back again. We're trying to get back on schedule. Tomorrow is the first day of May, so I want to welcome in May, spring to you and all. And we're going to get started, and Ron's going to kick us off with our new topic. And welcome, Ron. How are you? How have things been?
Hi, Val. It's been really busy, but it's been really good. And I think we had a good weekend recently recording at a psychic fair. Met a lot of great people, gave some great readings and such like that. And time to get back to the consciousness.
You know what? And it's funny you say that because when we're not talking about Christ consciousness, I'm constantly missing it. It's become a important part of my daily life. So awesome, awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, I regularly rerun the audio tapes myself, and I'm in the middle of chapter 6 right now. So it's all good and it's very fulfilling.
Do you normally listen to it in the car or at home?
Yeah, normally it's a car. It's a great filler when I'm driving to and from work. So I've got at least a 40-minute drive both ways.
Oh yeah, that's great time. Yeah, someone
But
asked me, it was like, when do you get a chance to listen to music anymore? And I was like, I think it's always in the cars when I have that alone time to hone in on some of my shows or my podcasts. So hopefully you guys are listening to us in the car on your way to and from work or to your event. This is also a podcast on YouTube, so you can watch us and also listen to us.
and I'd like to mention to anybody who does download the audio version, the gentleman who did that, he did a wonderful job, but I almost felt like he was a little bit rushed. And it can be kind of hard to hear everything he's saying. So, uh, what I did was use it as a primer, and I listened to it more than a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally sat down and read the text, which really helped get the parts into me that I was kind of like saying, "What did he say?" But it's all good. And once you kind of, well, probably once you hear as many times as I have, and I couldn't count right now how many times that's been, uh, I can follow along pretty easily with this audio version.
Oh yeah, for every book, and I listen to a lot of books on that the free library app, Hoopla or something like that. I have to listen to my books twice to get the full understanding. So I totally know what you mean, Ron. Oh yeah,
And this is heavy reading, so it's even more than that.
it's not a one and done, huh?
No, it's a lot of great stuff. As you know, I think some of our followers have commented, so I'm glad of that. I had sort of hoped to get this in before this current Easter season that we're in the Easter time now, but this is all still very 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 pertinent, and it'll hopefully carry with everybody moving forward. So, continuing on with letter 3, Christ just made the comment. He said, "Look, when I died, I fulfilled my mission. I was set free. He was lifted to the glorious light to partake of the light, to be of the light, and rejoice in the light." And that's the universal love. That is the God consciousness that's out there. Life and beauty, harmony, joy, and rapture. It's moving between the different levels of consciousness that's kind of rough, he's saying here. And the only reason he's come back is because his original time here was so misconstrued. So we continue on. Um, the He says also here that to help understand what it's like in some small way for what it takes for him to come back through a human being and relay a message now, because he is such at a high level of consciousness that it's almost like the same degree of tension and emotional stress um, when we have just an awesome, awesome tragedy in our lives, if we've ever had something like that. And it's a real downer for him, I don't know if emotional is the right word, but to make that transition from where he was to drop his energy to where he could communicate with somebody here. It's a tremendous effort. It really, really was. But he is saying that this moves into saying here that changing moods indicates a change in our consciousness energies. And a lift in our consciousness vibration gives us physical, emotional, and mental lift. And it makes us feel happy. A drop of our consciousness energies will depress our functioning. We feel depressed, we feel sad, sometimes we might cry, but it's, very different, very different feeling. And this is simply a fact of our existence. And he's just bringing that up. Uh, Something that he really wants to stress here, though, is he said, for 2,000 years, Christians, in quotes, have been reliving the trauma of his crucifixion. Some people have even experienced the stigmata, which is nothing more than hysterical and a morbidly emotional response to what they think that he endured. People have worked themselves up to an emotional pitch akin to a frenzy while imagining the anguish and suffering that he had before his death. Now, their emotional gratitude for what he did sends them into a physical distress. And he's writing this when he delivered this on a Good Friday several years ago. And he said he's come specially to talk about the crucifixion, and that we really must abandon all the drama that's associated with remembrance of the day. That's such a big deal in a Christian, all Christian religions, about Good Friday and being sad. But he's saying here, I died, and that was for him a wondrous release. It's time that people wake up for their long, long dream to understand existence as it really is, and the truth concerning his crucifixion, which has been hidden all this time. On Good Fridays, year after year, down the centuries, humans have created a contaminated, traumatic, consciousness state of being throughout the world, which is as far removed from the spiritual dimension of the creative universal consciousness as hell is removed from heaven. Now, he's saying also that go ahead, let's comment on that, because it's going to kind of shift gears.
No, the first thing came to my mind, Ron, was that when I was younger, I moved to New Orleans for a year, right? Different place from Midwest to the South. And the dorm mother, this is how old I am. The dorm mother explained to me when I saw that they had graves on top of the cemetery, like inside like a cement block. And I had never saw that before. And I was like, wow, that's different. She was like, yeah, she goes, actually, we celebrate birth and death. You guys, so most people have it wrong where they think death is bad, or death, the death date is a memorialized or a mourning type event. And she was like, here we celebrate it. It's a homecoming. It's a renewal. And that never registered to me until I got older, because your whole life you thought going to a funeral was the worst thing in the world. But it just stuck out to me when you spoke about what Christ said about how we've taken Easter or Good Friday and we kind of molded it into what we want it to be, and we relived that tragedy or that trauma over and over again, and no one ever even stopped to say, wait a second, what was the true message? What was, so yeah, that's what popped in my mind. I felt like sharing that.
Thank you very much, and you're so right. I had the opportunity to work down in New Orleans / Baton Rouge area about 10 years ago. And I was down there through Lent and Easter, and then sometime after that. And, that's absolutely right. Everything is a celebration. And I think that I don't know if it has roots in like voodoo, or it's just the culture combination of whatever combinations of the French Creole and things like that are all there. They do really have a better understanding that it's a celebration. It's sad for us, and that's our ego. When we have an attachment with somebody and we lose them, it hurts, and that's what Christ was saying there. But to get past that, to be the person that passes on, life is great. That's what that is our true home. This is the illusion here with all the drama, the trauma, the laughs, the giggles, the friendships, etc., like that. But it's very different on the other side. Everybody actually gets along, which is really cool to think about.
I agree.
Christ goes on here to say that now that he's chosen to relive his life through this person who was the recorder, because he wanted to help move the world forward in a new phase of spiritual mental development. And I think a conversation that you and I might have had on over the weekend is some of us who are a bit older, boomer myself, I believe you're Gen X. And a lot of times we look at the youth of today, and they really probably have more different attitudes, more extreme differing mindsets than all generations leading up till like probably through at least Gen X, where they're not in a rush to get married, they're not in a rush to get in a job, they're not in a rush to go get a car. It seems like they want to experience life, and they just have a whole different uh, essence about them. And I think a lot of times we older folks look at them like lazy, dumb, blah, da da da, whatever. But in these letters here, Christ is saying that, through the 2000 year, and I think it was culminating 2012, there actually was a shift in the world. And the souls that are being born today are different. They're meant to be more light workers to, bring things forward, to move what Christ is talking about here, this whole new energy, and get it birthed into the world more better. Like you and I are harbingers of this. We're sort of launching it off, but hopefully they're going to take it and they're going to run with it, because it's ingrained with them, and that's just where they're at. And when you look at the youth in that light, it makes sense.
Oh, I totally agree. And I know you and I have many conversations, but when we revisited that conversation, again, it just restates to me, like, everybody here on earth, every transition, every new full moon, it has a purpose. It has, it's part of the whole big plan. And one thing that stuck out to me that I wanted to share with the audience is that I attended a meditation class with a medium this weekend. Her name was Shireen or something like that. And she told a story, and she said, have you ever sat in your car, you get dressed, you go to work, you get to the work, and before you get out of the car, you sit there and you literally talk yourself into going into work? She said to the audience, 9 times out of 10, guys, you may be part of the change. You may be a light worker. You may be an empath. There's something innately in you that says, don't climb that tree, you may fall. Don't pick up the hot pot, whatever. When those voices, no matter how they come, for her voice came when she would go to work, and she just felt like she did not belong there, and I related to that completely. But you get a job, you have bills to pay and different stuff. So she said she would sit there, and the method she was teaching me was how to meditate and drown out the noise. So she had forced herself to drown out the noise at work, and then she would hop out the car, run in there, and try to get the day over as quickly as possible. But for me, it's like, you guys that are younger than us, that are picking up on this message that we're putting down, you're here for change. You're part of this transitional movement that's happening, and that's why God created the Christ consciousness. So it's like a full circle moment when Ron read that to us. So I hope that you're picking up what Ron's putting down as well.
Definitely. I wish I could have attended that same, because I'll tell you, I'm right there. Every day I get out of my car, I stop, I'm winding up the letters or whatever's going on, and I really have to just do a little prayer and a meditation, like, when is this going to be done?
I know, right?
I am fully ready to move into more spiritual work, and spreading this just as soon as I can afford to do it, or find another way to get there. I am ready.
I know.
But
I really appreciate, and I just want to say this to that audience, or that person that's listening to this, and you may be younger than us, or you think you're younger than us, and you are living or working partly in your spiritual craft. Like, kudos to you. If Ron and I knew what we knew now, we would have done this years ago. So I want to encourage you to continue on your path. Don't doubt yourself. Don't let anyone say, mumbo jumbo, whatever things that you battle and face with. Continue at the pace that you can, guys, because for you to be here where you are now, it's light years ahead of you.
So to kind of wrap up this segment in letter 3, Christ goes on to saying that he's asking anybody who can receive his words to please give up the practice of remembering his death and exercising the physical self-denial that we all do in the season of Lent to commemorate his 40 days in the desert. He says, you must realize from this narrative, his time in the desert was one of great joy and blessedness of spirit. It was not, like he was moping around the desert, starving himself the whole time. This is when he received his enlightenment. This is when all these realizations he's given us now came to him. It was an awesome time. People do pilgrimages and go overseas or wherever and things like that, but kind of the same thing. And I think a lot of people that do that sort of thing do come back changed some way. But and he's saying here, he was out, his needs were met. He was out in the desert for 40 days, and he learned all this stuff thousands of years ago before they had any comprehension about the atomic theory or how biology worked or how really modern medicines or any of this kind of stuff. He knew all this stuff, and I used to be like a time traveler to go back 2,000 years now, one of us, and we have our cell phone and our money in our pocket or whatever, and you get back there and what is this going to do you? You're so out of place. And he was so far advanced. And it had to happen. You think like, well, why did he come back then? Well, a tremendous shift happened, as a result of Christ being on the earth, and many, many good things did happen. We can't, we're not knocking that at all. But the core message really got contaminated when it got put down about the real reason he was here and about the God consciousness and what is really holding us together, holding the world together, the universe as we know it, and our real role in there.
All right, guys. Thank you again for stopping by our channel, listening to us, dropping your comment, taking all this in, pushing out anything that can help you throughout your life. I want to also say that Ron and I are going to do our best to come back as quickly as possible, but we know that the summertime is coming. So we will continue to podcast, and we're going to take our show on the road and maybe do a couple of more live events and maybe even a farmer's market. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will let Ron close us out.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Val, and thank you for accompanying me last weekend at our first, show on the road, I guess you want to call it, as it was. It was a great experience and a great time again. And if anybody's kind of local to the northern Illinois, northwestern Indiana area, I've got several dates that I'll be doing readings for, and I'd be happy to sit down and just spend time talking about the Christ consciousness if you'd like to do that. Awesome. I have the dates in my newsletter, and I'll put it on my website too, tarotwithtelic.com.
Also, too, guys, Ron's newsletter went out. So again, if you would like that, you can always go to his website, drop your email address, and get added to that list, and you'll get the link to everything and all our upcoming events. So again, thank you, guys. I hope you have a wonderful spring/summer, or whenever you're watching this. Blessings and blessings.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.